You've been patient, you've given space, you've done everything right according to every relationship coach on the internet. And yet, nothing. The avoidant in your life still hasn't made a move, still hasn't stepped up, still treats the relationship like it's a casual Tuesday afternoon hobby. Here's what nobody tells you. Avoidants don't respond to pressure. They respond to safety, but not the kind you think. Today, we're breaking down the 6 psychological conditions that make avoidants finally drop their walls, step into their masculine or feminine energy, and actually take the lead. This isn't about games. This isn't about manipulation. This is about understanding how their nervous system works and working with it, not against it. Avoidants don't fear commitment. They fear chaos. What looks like fear of intimacy is actually fear of unpredictable emotional storms. When you become emotionally consistent, not cold, not distant, but steady, you remove their primary anxiety trigger. Here's the shift. Stop reacting to their withdrawals with panic. When they pull back and you remain calm, grounded and unshaken, something interesting happens. Their nervous system registers. This person won't punish me for needing space. This person is safe. And here's the kicker. Once they feel safe, they start to miss you. That's when they initiate, not out of guilt, not out of obligation, out of genuine desire. Consistency is the antidote to avoidant anxiety. When you stop being a moving target emotionally, they finally have the bandwidth to move toward you. Think about it like this. Every time you react with intensity to their distancing, you confirm their deepest fear. That closeness leads to emotional overwhelm. But when you maintain your center, when you can hold space for their need for autonomy, without falling apart or lashing out, you prove that love doesn't have to mean losing themselves. This emotional regulation you demonstrate becomes a blueprint for them. They start to internalize that relationships can be safe, that vulnerability doesn't always lead to engulfment or drama. Your steadiness becomes their anchor, and ironically, that anchor gives them the freedom to finally swim toward you instead of away. The transformation happens slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. You'll notice they linger a bit longer in conversations. They'll check in more frequently. They'll start making small gestures that indicate they're thinking about you. This is their nervous system recalibrating, learning that you're a source of peace rather than chaos. And when that recalibration is complete, when they've gathered enough evidence that you won't weaponize their emotions or punish their boundaries, that's when they take the lead. They plan the dates. They initiate the deep conversations. They step forward because the ground beneath them finally feels solid. The fastest way to make an avoidant run? Need them. Avoidants are wired to pull away from dependency. But here's the paradox. They're drawn to people who genuinely don't need them, but actively choose them. When you rebuild your own life, your hobbies, your friendships, your purpose, you stop radiating, "I need you to complete me" energy. Instead, you start radiating, "I'm whole on my own, and I'd love to share this with you." That shift is magnetic to avoidance. Why? Because it takes the pressure off. They're no longer responsible for your happiness. They're no longer the solution to your problems. They're now an addition to an already fulfilling life. And when they sense you're not sitting around waiting for them to validate you, that's when they start showing up. That's when they start initiating dates, texting first, making plans. Because now, being with you feels like a choice, not a trap. This dynamic shift requires genuine internal work, not performance. You can't fake having a full life. Avoidants have finely tuned radar for inauthenticity because they themselves are masters at maintaining facades. If you're pretending to be busy while secretly obsessing over their every move, they'll sense the incongruence. The energy you bring into interactions betrays your true state of mind. But when you genuinely rediscover what lights you up outside the relationship, when you reconnect with the version of yourself that existed before they became your entire world, everything changes. You start declining last-minute plans because you actually have commitments. You're not available at their convenience because you're building something meaningful in your career, your creative pursuits, your friendships. This isn't strategy, it's self-respect in action. And avoidants, who are often hyper-independent themselves, respect independence in others. In fact, they're drawn to it like moths to flame. Your self-sufficiency mirrors their own values, creating a point of connection rather than conflict. They start to see you as an equal, someone who understands their need for autonomy because you have your own. The relationship transforms from something that feels suffocating to something that feels enriching, and that's when they lean in. Avoidants initiate when they stop feeling like the prize. If you've been chasing, texting first, planning everything, asking, "Where is this going?" you've accidentally positioned yourself as the pursuer and them as the decider. That imbalance keeps them passive. Here's the recalibration. Stop over-functioning in the relationship. Stop doing all the emotional labor. Stop being the only one who cares about connection. When you pull back your energy, not to punish, but to protect your own peace, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, they're not the one being pursued. They're the one wondering where you went. And avoidants, despite what you've heard, do pursue, but only when they're uncertain they still have you. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about being genuinely hard to get because you're investing in yourself and your standards. When the power balances, their passivity evaporates. The psychology here is straightforward. Humans pursue what they're uncertain about and take for granted what feels guaranteed. When you're always available, always accommodating, always the one reaching out, you signal that you're a sure thing. There's no mystery, no challenge, no question about your commitment. For most people, this creates security. For avoidants, it creates complacency. They settle into the comfortable position of being chosen without having to choose back. But the moment you stop chasing, the moment you reclaim your energy and redirect it toward yourself, the calculation changes. Now they're faced with uncertainty. Now they're wondering if you're losing interest, if someone else has caught your attention, if they've taken you for granted for too long. This uncertainty doesn't create anxiety in the way it might for anxiously attached people. It creates activation. Avoidants are often competitive and achievement-oriented in other areas of their lives. When you stop being a guaranteed presence, you become a challenge worth rising to. They start to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, why you're not texting like you used to. And that wondering translates into action. They reach out, they make plans, they put in effort. Not because you've manipulated them, but because the natural balance of give and take has been restored. Nothing activates an avoidant faster than the realization that you're building a life they're not part of. When you stop putting your life on hold waiting for them to come around, something visceral happens in their psychology. They start to experience what they've been making you feel: loss. You're traveling, you're thriving, you're growing, you're laughing in your stories with friends, you're not falling apart, you're not begging, you're just moving forward. And suddenly they're texting, they're asking to see you, they're making effort. Why? Because avoidants only value what they think they might lose. When you stop orbiting their indecision and start living your life, with or without them, you become valuable again. Not as a possession, but as a person with options. This is where many people get it wrong. They fake moving on to manipulate a reaction. But avoidance can smell inauthenticity. You have to genuinely be ready to walk away for this to work. And when you are, that's when they finally step up. The shift from waiting to living is profound and visible. When you stop checking your phone every 5 minutes hoping they've texted, when you stop declining invitations because you want to be available in case they reach out, when you stop planning your schedule around the possibility of seeing them, you emit a different frequency entirely. You become someone who's going places with or without them, and that forward momentum is intoxicating to witness. Avoidants, who often pride themselves on their own independence and progress, are drawn to people who embody those same qualities. When they see you flourishing, pursuing goals, creating experiences, and building a life that looks genuinely fulfilling, they experience something uncomfortable. the fear of being left behind. This isn't about making them jealous or proving a point. It's about the natural consequence of you prioritizing yourself. When your world expands and they're no longer at the center of it, they suddenly realize what they had. They realize that your attention, your time, your energy, these were gifts, not guarantees, and gifts can be withdrawn. The people who succeed in getting avoidance to step up are the ones who genuinely reach a point where they're okay either way. They've grieved the relationship that might never be. They've accepted the person as they are, and they've made peace with moving forward alone if necessary. That acceptance paradoxically creates the conditions for pursuit. Here's the nuance most people miss. Avoidance can handle vulnerability. They just can't handle vulnerability that comes with strings attached. When you share your feelings, your needs, your disappointments, your desires, without demanding an immediate response or trying to fix them you create a safe container for emotional honesty. For example, I've been feeling disconnected lately, and I wanted to share that with you. I'm not asking you to change anything right now. I just wanted you to know. No ultimatum, no pressure, just truth. This kind of vulnerability disarms them. It shows them that feelings aren't weapons. It shows them that emotional honesty doesn't have to end in conflict or control. And when they see you can express yourself without collapsing or attacking, they start to trust the relationship. They start to open up. They start to initiate emotional conversations because it no longer feels dangerous. The key is in the delivery and the intention behind it. Most people share their feelings with an implicit expectation. I'm telling you this so you'll change your behavior, validate my emotions, or give me reassurance. Avoidance can sense these hidden agendas from a mile away, and they trigger their defenses. But when you share simply to be known, to honor your own emotional truth without making it their responsibility to manage or fix, something shifts. You're modeling emotional maturity and self-regulation. You're demonstrating that you can hold your own feelings without needing them to rescue you from discomfort. This is incredibly attractive to avoidance because it alleviates their deepest fear, that your emotions will become their burden. When they realize they can witness your vulnerability without being consumed by it, without being responsible for it, they relax. They start to see emotional intimacy not as a trap but as a bridge. They begin to reciprocate, sharing their own inner world in small doses at first, testing the waters to see if you'll react with judgment, pressure, or demands. When you don't, when you receive their vulnerability with the same non-attached presence you've modeled, they learn that emotional connection can be safe. This is when they start initiating deeper conversations, asking about your day, not out of obligation but genuine curiosity, sharing their struggles and fears without prompting. The relationship deepens not through force, but through consistent modeling of secure attachment. The most powerful shift: stop protecting them from the consequences of their behavior. If they don't text, don't chase. If they don't plan, don't fill the void. If they're inconsistent, don't reward inconsistency with your presence. This isn't punishment. This is respect for yourself and for them. You're allowing them to feel the natural result of their choices. When an avoidant realizes that withdrawing means they actually lose access to you, not just temporarily, but potentially permanently, their survival instinct kicks in. Not the toxic, I don't want anyone else to have you kind, but the genuine, I don't want to lose something valuable kind. Healthy avoidants who are capable of growth will wake up. They'll start initiating. They'll start taking responsibility. They'll start leading because they realize that passivity costs them the connection. And if they don't, you have your answer. You've just saved yourself years of unfulfilling dynamics. This principle is perhaps the most challenging to implement because it requires you to tolerate discomfort and uncertainty. It means sitting with the silence when they don't reach out. It means watching days turn into weeks without contact and not caving to the urge to fix it. It means accepting that the relationship might end because they're not willing to step up. But it's also the most transformative principle because it draws a clear line between what you will and won't accept. When you stop cushioning their avoidance, when you stop being their safety net that allows them to be half in and half out indefinitely, they're forced to make a real choice. Either they value the connection enough to show up for it, or they don't. Either way, you get clarity. For avoidants who genuinely care but have been stuck in patterns of passivity, natural consequences serve as a wake-up call. They realize that you're not going to wait forever. They realize that their actions, or lack thereof, have real impact. They realize that the relationship isn't something they can take for granted and pick up whenever convenient. This realization often prompts significant change. They start communicating more proactively. They make concrete plans. They follow through on commitments. They take the lead not because you've begged them to, but because they've genuinely understood that this is what it takes to keep you in their life. The beauty of this approach is that it filters for capacity. Avoidants who are capable of secure relating will rise to the occasion. Those who aren't ready will fall away, freeing you to find someone who can meet you where you are.